One of the most surreal moments I've had traveling was at Terminal C, socks on, suitcase open, TSA agents staring. I thought I'd packed smart, naturally folding shirts and tucking shoes into clear bags, until they pulled me aside for something I'd carried for decades. After 60, something subtle happens. What once gave comfort can instantly create stress. Here's the secret: packing a little differently can turn panic into calm. Hit like so more seniors avoid standing in my shoes, sweating under fluorescent lights. I'm Caspian Holt, 71, widowed, a Vietnam veteran, lifelong overpacker. After 60, you pack not just for convenience but for comfort, memory, and a tiny bubble of control. Every item had a reason: a scarf reminding me of my wife, pants that fit without digging in, a notebook for layovers. Naturally, I thought every piece was essential, until I learned holding on to comfort can weigh you down. Item 1. Folding pocket knife. One of the most surprising lessons I learned about traveling after 60 happened with a folding pocket knife I always carried for emergencies. Naturally, I thought it was smart, small, lightweight, and tucked neatly in my carry-on, the kind of tool you imagine could save the day if something went wrong. Without thinking, I reached for it at Chicago O'Hare, and an agent stopped me cold. "Sir, we need to check this," they said, and instantly I felt my cheeks burn. The goal is to feel prepared, but after 60, something subtle happens. Items that once gave confidence can make you look suspicious to airport security. I remember standing there, embarrassed, wishing I had just left it in my checked bag. Here's the secret: leaving it behind or swapping for a TSA-approved alternative not only keeps you out of trouble but also gives a quiet sense of relief, the kind that comes from knowing you can glide through the line without tension. Do you carry a pocket knife when flying? I learned quickly that what feels like safety can instantly feel like a problem if it's in the wrong place. Item 2. Old digital thermometer. One of the most harmless things I thought I could bring on a flight turned into a small moment of panic: my old digital thermometer. Naturally, I packed it to monitor my temperature mid-flight, something that gave me peace of mind after 60 when little aches or fevers suddenly feel more concerning. Without thinking, I reached for it at security, and the TSA agents paused, scanning it with curious glances that instantly made me feel singled out as an older passenger. The goal is to feel in control of your health, but something subtle happens when simple tools start looking suspicious to others. I remember my hands tightening around it, wishing for a smoother, quieter experience. Here's the secret: swapping it for disposable thermometer strips or using a small smart app on your phone can give the same reassurance without the stress, letting you move through the line calmly and confidently. Ever had your health gadget trigger TSA? That day taught me how something meant for safety can feel like a spotlight if it's not the right format. Item 3. Medication organizer with multiple pills. One of the most convenient things I ever packed was my daily meds all in one container, neatly divided by day and time. It seemed completely safe. Naturally, I thought I was being smart, keeping everything in one place so I wouldn't forget a dose, especially after 60 when missing a pill can throw your whole day off. Without thinking, I reached for it at Atlanta Airport, and the agent leaned in and whispered, "You can't travel with this like that." Instantly, I felt that familiar mix of embarrassment and frustration, realizing that my attempt to stay safe had backfired. The goal is to feel prepared, but something subtle happens when packing for health. What makes you organized can look suspicious to others. Here's the secret: separating medications into labeled, TSA-compliant bottles not only keeps you out of trouble but makes it easier to reach for exactly what you need without fumbling or spilling. How do you organize meds for travel? That day taught me that simplicity can feel safer, calmer, and more confident on the go. Item 4. Travel pillow with hidden pockets. One of the most comforting items I ever brought on a flight was my travel pillow, soft and familiar, naturally hugging my neck just right. After 60, something subtle happens. You cling to these little comforts, not just for sleep but for a sense of home in a crowded, noisy cabin. Without thinking, I reached for it while boarding, only to be stopped mid-aisle and asked to unzip every hidden pocket. Instantly, I felt a wave of embarrassment, losing not just comfort but a tiny connection to nostalgia, memories of long trips with my late wife and the quiet mornings we shared over coffee. The goal is to travel peacefully, but too many clever compartments can turn something meant for ease into a hassle. Here's the secret: A simple, non-pocket pillow gives the same neck support, feels instantly lighter, and lets you slip through security without worry. Do you need a pillow for every flight? I learned that comfort doesn't have to be complicated to feel truly restful. Item 5. Legacy laptop with extra battery. One of the most sentimental items I ever packed was my old laptop, naturally still carrying a backup battery from my late wife's office. After 60, something subtle happens. You hold on to these things not just for function but for the memories tied to them, the quiet hours we spent typing letters or planning trips together. Without thinking, I reached for it at security, and TSA opened my bag twice, scrutinizing the batteries like I'd smuggled something dangerous. Instantly, I felt that familiar pang of guilt, wishing I could just toss it and move on, but knowing part of me couldn't let go. The goal is to travel with ease, but sentimental electronics can make you feel exposed and vulnerable. Here's the secret. Swapping for a modern laptop with TSA-approved batteries keeps you out of trouble while preserving the convenience you need, and it feels instantly lighter on both your arms and your mind. Do you still travel with old electronics? That day taught me that letting go of the old can make room for calm, confident travel without losing the connection to memory. Item 6. Compression socks with hidden zippers. One of the most practical items I ever wore on a flight was my compression socks, naturally snug to prevent swelling and keep my circulation steady after 60. Without thinking, I never imagined the hidden zippers sewn into them for small items could cause any trouble or even slow me down. But at TSA, the scanner picked up something unusual, and I had to awkwardly unzip and explain every tiny pocket, feeling instantly flustered, self-conscious, and a little embarrassed in front of the line of travelers. As we age, something subtle happens. We want to feel prepared and safe, but clever gadgets can make us look suspicious when all we wanted was comfort. The goal is comfort without complications, and here's the secret. Simple compression socks without compartments give the same support, feel instantly lighter, and let you glide through security without unnecessary attention or stress. Ever had socks or clothing trigger extra checks? That day reminded me that even the smallest details can affect how confidently we move through travel, and it's worth keeping things simple. Item 7. Travel foot massager, portable. One of the most comforting items I ever packed for a flight was my small travel foot massager, naturally something I thought would help my tired legs after long walks and hours in the seat. Without thinking, I tucked it neatly into my carry-on, imagining slipping it out mid-flight to relax and feel instantly lighter. But at TSA, I was asked to power it on in front of a crowd of travelers, and suddenly my little comfort gadget became a spotlight, making me feel awkward and a little embarrassed. After 60, something subtle happens. We start relying on these comfort items more, not just for relaxation but for a sense of control and reassurance in unfamiliar spaces. The goal is to travel peacefully without stress, and here's the secret. Choosing battery-safe, TSA-approved mini massagers gives the same relief without holding up the line or drawing unwanted attention. Do you bring personal comfort gadgets? That day reminded me that even small conveniences need to be thought through so comfort doesn't come with anxiety. Item 8. Homemade snack kit. One of the most practical things I packed for long flights was my homemade snack kit, naturally filled with nuts, dried fruit, and protein bars to prevent low blood sugar and keep my energy steady after 60. Without thinking, I thought clear plastic bags would be enough, but TSA flagged the unusual packaging and started inspecting every single item, opening packages and peering inside. Instantly, I felt that familiar twinge of embarrassment, holding up the line and watching people sigh or glance at me impatiently. As we age, something subtle happens. We carry snacks not just for hunger but for a sense of control, a small comfort in an unpredictable environment. The goal is to stay nourished without stress, and here's the secret. Using TSA-approved clear containers for pre-packed snacks keeps everything visible, organized, and instantly more acceptable, letting you pass through security without extra scrutiny. What's your travel snack must-have? That day taught me that even small comforts need the right presentation to feel safe and seamless. Item 9. Old travel document folder. One of the most trusted items I ever carried was my oversized travel document folder, naturally organized with every passport, ticket, and reservation neatly tucked inside, feeling like my little command center for travel. Without thinking, I believe this structure made me look prepared, but at TSA, it drew double attention, and I was questioned twice, the folder looking suspicious under their scanners and making me feel instantly exposed. Instantly, I felt that mix of frustration and self-consciousness, realizing that after 60, something subtle happens. Our need for order and structure can be misunderstood as a risk, even when all we want is smooth travel. The goal is to move through airports with confidence, not scrutiny, and here's the secret. Switching to a lightweight, updated folder for passports and tickets keeps everything organized while looking clean and simple, giving a calm, effortless feel in your hands. Still carry a classic organizer? That day reminded me that even our most practical habits can need a little modernization to travel smoothly, confidently, and without stress. Item 10. Small metal keepsake, wedding ring replica. One of the most precious things I ever carried on a flight was a small metal keepsake, a replica of my wedding ring from my late wife, naturally tucked in my carry-on where I could keep it close. Without thinking, I assumed it would pass unnoticed, but TSA almost confiscated it because the metal composition was outdated and unusual, and I watched my heart sink instantly. After 60, something subtle happens. You feel vulnerable carrying items tied to memory, and the fear of losing them hits harder than ever. The goal is to protect both your belongings and your peace of mind, and here's the secret. Placing sentimental items in your carry-on with a clear explanation, or choosing TSA-friendly alternatives, keeps them safe without drawing extra attention. Do you carry keepsakes when traveling? That day reminded me that even the smallest token can carry decades of love and nostalgia, and handling it thoughtfully makes the journey feel secure and heartfelt. One of the most revealing things I've learned about traveling after 60 is why we pack so much. Naturally, we fill our bags not just with clothing but with items that give safety, comfort, and hold memories, little pieces of home tucked into every pocket and compartment. Without thinking, we assume that extra sweater, every gadget, every keepsake will make the trip smoother, but something subtle happens. Airports often misinterpret these intentions, and what feels like preparedness can look like overpacking or even suspicion. Instantly, the stress creeps in, and you feel judged for trying to take care of yourself. The goal is to pack for confidence, not fear, to choose items that give peace of mind, ease, and comfort without weighing you down or drawing unnecessary attention. Here's the secret: streamlined bags, thoughtfully selected essentials, and a few sentimental touches let you move through security with calm, letting the joy of travel take center stage instead of anxiety. After 60, this balance isn't just practical, it feels freeing, like reclaiming your own sense of control and adventure. One of the most satisfying moments I've had traveling after 60 was the first time I walked through TSA without stress, naturally feeling confident and organized. After decades of overpacking, lugging sentimental items, gadgets, and comfort tools, something subtle happens when you finally pare down to essentials. The line doesn't feel intimidating, your hands aren't shaking, and every scan and pat-down passes smoothly. Without thinking, I realized I wasn't dreading the experience or wishing I'd left home earlier. Instead, I felt a quiet peace of mind, a freedom that comes from traveling lighter, smarter, and calmer. The goal is to carry only what serves your comfort, safety, and joy, and to do so in a way that feels seamless. Here's the secret: when each item has a clear purpose and moves with you, every step in the airport feels smoother, every seat on the plane more welcoming, and every moment of the journey instantly less stressful. After 60, we learn that simplifying isn't deprivation, it's liberation. Carrying less physically allows your mind to travel farther, and carrying only what matters emotionally makes the entire trip feel like an extension of home rather than a battle with luggage. If this saved you even one headache at the airport, tap like right now, instantly rewarding the effort and helping more seniors avoid the same mistakes. Share it with a friend over 60 who flies soon. Imagine the relief they'll feel skipping the anxiety and confusion, knowing someone has already walked the path before them. Subscribe to Senior Travel Adventures because the next video reveals the #1 airport mistake seniors make, something that trips up even seasoned travelers and can cost hours of stress and frustration. The goal is to travel with confidence, to feel in control, and to know that after 60, adventure doesn't slow down, it transforms. Here's the secret: small changes, thoughtful packing, and mindful preparation create a ripple of calm that lasts the entire trip, making travel not just a journey from point A to B, but a joyful experience in itself. Naturally, this approach doesn't just save time and money, it restores your energy, your peace of mind, and your belief that flying after 60 can be lighter, smarter, and far more enjoyable than ever before. After decades of learning the hard way, I can say with certainty, every intentional choice you make in packing and preparation instantly lifts the weight off your shoulders and allows the journey to feel like freedom again.